So in this episode, we're going to go over CE Boxer stuff. We're going to look at what it's like for a brand new player who has had Street Fighter experience, like what their initial kind of fights might look like when you know all the normal moves and things like that, and how you can translate that experience into playing Street Fighter V, and how you need to align some of the game mechanics or even the speed of the game to match more of that. And so Yoshi, you had it just fine earlier when you mentioned it here in chat, where you were saying, yeah, you need to learn maybe the game and the game systems. I have a lot of good videos on specific terms and meaties or setups that Balrog does, for example. So that might be something that you would want to look into after we have this kind of conversation, review this replay together, look through some things. The areas I noticed that you needing some help, and so I wrote it here in my little book here. The areas where I think that you might need some assistance or some help is definitely going to be knowing when to take advantage of things. So when I was watching your whole replay, or I watched like 3 or 4 replays, including some stuff with Kage, I noticed that you would get a knockdown advantage from either a special move or sweep or crush counter or etc., and then you weren't able to take advantage of that. You either stood still, or when you moved there, you didn't know what exactly to do. And in Street Fighter V, at a higher level, some of those sections of the game become more or less mechanical, and it becomes kind of like a rock, paper, scissors game. So you're going to want to move to a specific scenario, learn that scenario, and then take advantage of those turns when those things happen. Also, I noticed you didn't use V-Trigger. I think you yourself noticed it as well. That's pretty normal, especially when you're early in your game. So what you might want to do is learn some V-Trigger activation routes. So after we go through a replay, we might step into the training room. I'll show you a couple things. But again, some of this stuff might be found just as easily on other videos I made, or other good content creators have also put together some easy ways to do it. Well, a lot of times I think, with some exception, people sometimes change characters really frequently because they're a little afraid of losing with their main, or they're a little afraid of choosing a main because then they would be losing with their main. And so you have to be, you might have to choose a main so then you can feel bad about it, which sometimes it's hard because the game has a lot of cool characters, and if you don't want to put any goals around it, you just want to have fun, like why would you have to do that? Okay, so at first I want to mention, like, obviously something that even I struggle with at some ranges is you need to be knowing where Balrog's dash punches hit and where they don't. Now, as you play the game more, you're a rookie, right? This is not something that you're going to be like, okay, Leo, 100% this is the only thing I'm going to think about. This is just one easy thing. Just whiffing your attacks in this game can be really devastating, especially against characters like Seth that can punish them from different distances. So in general, as a new player, you're going to probably be whiffing all the time, so I won't mention this too often. So that right there is really interesting. So if you block it standing, this Seth move here, it's going to be -2. That's important. But something you need to know is that axe kick is really difficult to anti-air, and if you do want to anti-air it with Balrog, you want to use crouch fierce. But if they're -2 there, you just want to hit stand jab, crouch jab, stand light kick. But you're not going to get a throw from there. Your best bet in this game, especially if you came from Street Fighter 4 or some other games, is to not throw. It's to actually press your fastest button, which is going to be light kick. So that habit is one I am still working on breaking because of my extensive history of playing Street Fighter 4. So in a lot of cases, the neutral is going to be real fluid. You're not going to have a lot of you're going to have some issues here because you don't know the game and you don't know this character, because it's a little bit of a lot of things going on. But in general, you want to hit that combo that you missed earlier, right? So you want to hit the training room and recognize, hit confirm, boom, you got it. Just like this. So then you had maybe it was a 60%, 70% rate on that. Then jumping against Seth isn't so good because he can do so much damage to you with his back hard kick, with juggles for 2 hits, his dragon punches, etc. But if you're noticing an opponent doesn't want to actually anti-air you, that jump is fine, right? He doesn't even have fireball, it's almost weird to even know when to jump unless he's doing that weird spin kick move that Seth has. So right there, when he did the crouching medium punch, that was definitely plus. So this game is all about frame data. This game is all about when is it your turn. And so you're going to really want to focus on when is it my turn against this character, that character, this character, that character. And that's going to be something you're learning and working on, as I mentioned in a previous tweet, forever. Because you're going to have to try to remember that information. And if you're really good at remembering that information, that's great. And then you're going to have to teach your body to do the same thing. Okay, so then this guy's offense with Seth is also very similar to what I'm saying, where he has advantages, but he's doing just a whole bunch of just excess movement. So, you know, when you're doing that low rush there, that's a good move. It's good that he blocked it. So what I'm going to focus on is not the fact that you did this move and maybe it's a little unsafe, but what I will say is what you're going to do after. What Balrog can get after is he can do a dash forward into a plus frame attack, usually on normal rise a stand medium kick, on a back rise stand hard kick. This is in some of my other videos, but basically this will show this is your opportunity. As soon as you hit one of these knockdowns, it's all good for you. It's your turn. The only thing that can stop you is an invincible reversal, right? So right there, that was just a timing issue. I think that if you dashed in properly, you would have got that. Or if you did a standing meaty there, because it was right, he quick rolls right next to you, you would have got that. But you were definitely at advantage. Right there, obviously you could have anti-aired that, but that's something you're going to be working on for like the next 200 hours. Good interrupt with that. That's not a real string. In fact, everything that goes into hands with Seth isn't as real as the stuff that goes into kicks. The kicks are going to be negative, but a lot of the hand stuff is kind of like a mix-up. So that was good. So that was very good. Overall, I notice you do walk back a lot with Balrog. This is something that it takes me a long time to kind of get out of my system, because it does two things. One, it telegraphs that you're going to dash punch, so a lot of people do what Seth did right here, which is the neutral jump. If you're trying to fight against Balrog and you're like, oh, that seems like a great idea. Yeah, because it is. Because for Balrog to punish a neutral jump, he has to be very good at reacting to that and do a special move. Otherwise, you end up getting hit from this crazy elbow, right? Hey, what up, Commando? Thanks for coming back. Okay, so obviously he dropped his combo there, but somehow that turned into a mix-up, so I'm sorry for you and your family. Usually what you did there was the right choice. I mean, you don't know how many frames that's going to be. I didn't know that he just missed it, right? So good choice. That's fine. There you go. Boom. Looks, and every time it seems to be missing, right? So you're trying to dash and do it. So I think that's just a practice thing. In fact, you may even there might be some kind of issue when you do medium kick or hard kick low rush, and so you want to maybe double check that. But I usually just go into light kick rush or EX rush, and that frame advantage is solid. You should have got that. Right there, obviously, something you want to work on is that hard kick upper combo. Big damage. You always want to do that. You want to look for that in that scenario. But if you did the combo I think you were trying to do, that combo is really good too, because you get meaty pressure after a dash punch cancel, which you'll have to learn, but that's something that's really good as well. It depends on the situation. But if you look at Seth's health and stun right here, max damage would have felt really good. Maybe you would have got a stun there. That would have been really good for you. Good anti-air. Really good patience. That's something I noticed from you a lot when I watched like 5 of your games. I noticed that because you're not entirely sure what to expect in this game and what's going to happen, you exhibited lots and lots of patience in this whole set. And I have to hand it to you. I think that you don't seem frustrated when you're playing. You don't seem to be doing anything too rash. And for learning the game, I think that if your mentality's consistent with what my brain is saying I think you're doing, that'll be pretty good. There'll be some hard times ahead, but just in general, I think that it kind of shows that you're more maybe a defensive first player, or see first then adapt. You might have to change that here and there, but for a learning perspective and a learning kind of way, I think you're doing the right thing. think you tried to interrupt there, but you failed. I don't know if you were just late to the party there, but there is an interrupt you can do with stand light kick. Otherwise, if you block it, it'll be, I think this one's +2, so you don't really want to block it, but it's no big deal either way. Yeah, being rash is instant death. Yeah, I mean, that happens in this game a lot. And a lot of good fighting games nowadays, they have like way too much damage. So having that as like a block first or think first mentality, I think that's the right way to go. Okay, this is good. So right there after forward throw, if you look at, I got some resources for that if you know about it, but you can do low rush. However, since he has EX and he has critical art, maybe not the right choice in this scenario, but you know, that's an option for you. Otherwise, you could just walk up real safe. Like, yeah, who knows how to block that? Nobody. Yeah, and then he's not guarding his toes, right? I mean, how many times is this guy gonna just walk up and get hit on the ground? So that was good. That was good work. You put some work in there. I like that. In the round, kind of dictated how he could attack. He's not punishing the dash punch. That's good. You can continue to do it. You kind of staying away, but that jump you didn't need to do. What I want you to do there is use more down medium punch or use more stand hard kick. So that would work. Nice. Keeping your distance from him is pretty good. Look, he's neutral jumping, looking for the dash punch. He's trying to interrupt you somehow. He's trying to play with you a little bit. There you go. Good challenge there after the spin. No anti-air again. Got to work on that. You'll get used to it. Everybody jumps like crazy in this game. Like crazy. You're pretty grounded overall, except for these jumps out of the corner, right? In this kind of game, in this kind of learning environment, like what you're gonna need to do, and this is just how, you know, since you played Street Fighter 2, you kind of understand it. You got to be able to control the ground game by increasing very specifically and your anti-airs and your control at that mid-range. Because if you come from the old games, you're going to be thinking, oh man, I feel like I have control from this far away, right? You're going to feel like you're going to feel like you're control from a big distance. But in these games, the real control comes at a smaller distance, and you're going to be looking for the range in and around your crouching medium punch range. That's your strongest range because you can use crouching medium punch, stand hard kick, stand jab to kind of whiff punish some things. That's where you're really strong. And inside of that, because when you get a little bit further, the game has so much momentum in the way that, in the sense that one mistake will lead you to the corner, and then all of a sudden they're just going to town on you. And so you want to try to lower the amount of times that you walk yourself into the corner at all levels of play. And so it'll be good to understand that early, where like, okay, my anti-air didn't just cost me to block, it cost me screen space, it cost me initiative, it cost me just the control overall of the match. So that's like something you gotta maybe hold on to.